Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. I have some extra good news. If Jesus can survive his crucifixion and resurrection, he certainly can survive you not risking spreading or being infected with coronavirus this Easter Sunday. So let's get into it. But before we do, like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comments section below. All comments are welcome. Well, Sunday, and this video is going to be posted on Saturday, so we are, as the celebration goes, right between the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus. This would have been the second day that Jesus would be in the grave as we are celebrating it. But of course, Sunday, 2.1 billion Christians around the world will recognize and celebrate the Easter season. But here's my thoughts on this in light of the coronavirus, because there are certainly some Christians who are just ignoring the threat of this disease, and by having worshipers come to their churches. Now, there are two kinds of, ways we can look at this. For example, there are some churches that have developed kind of good, safe, distant ways. Some can have drive-in by sitting in their car. They kind of rigged it up to where they can have a radio frequency that you can turn in like the old drive-in styles. I think that's okay. Some of them getting kind of in trouble with their city. Excuse me, though. They're getting in trouble with their city. In fact, one was I think it was Greenville, Mississippi, who sent out his police force to ticket $500 worth of tickets to those who were gathering. Okay, I think it's a bit of overreach. But the more dangerous ones that will invite people into churches. For example, when you look across the Gulf states, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, these governors have a very lax, cavalier attitude towards this disease. In other words, they are almost virtually ignoring it. Though in each of the states, they have a rising infected people. In fact, Florida, for example, has 17,000 cases with 400 deaths. Georgia, 11,000 cases with, again, 400 deaths. Let me skip down to, where's Alabama at? Alabama has 3,000 cases with 80 deaths. And then Mississippi has 2,000 with 80 deaths. And again, these numbers are growing. And it boggles my mind that people are not taking this threat seriously. As if this disease doesn't infect people. There was one news clip that I saw where people were coming out, and one of the reporter asked the lady, "Aren't you afraid you're going to infect people?" She goes, "No, the blood of Jesus is going to cover me." Foolish, very foolish. Let me remind you of something, that even in the Bible, in the law of Moses, which people cherish, that Moses provided for the spread of infectious disease. Then it was leprosy. Leprosy didn't have a cure, and it was highly contagious, much like coronavirus, in other words, from the touch. In fact, if someone was discovered or was showing symptoms of leprosy, they would quarantine him. They would burn his clothes, burn his sheets, and thoroughly wash cups, whatever he had contact with. That's how contagious it was. Here's my point. God didn't say, well, just believe God, or just do the Passover blood like we did in Egypt. No, they didn't make those silly presumptions. And the problem, of course, is these are the kinds of things that happen when people start spreading. What happens when they spread? What happens when people get infected? Are you going to yell the blood of Jesus then? Let me also say this, that people get kind of up in arms, especially because they're not feeling it, because they can't worship or celebrate Easter. Well, let's just keep this in mind. Easter is a man-made holiday. God never, or Jesus, his son, never said to acknowledge or celebrate Easter. He more said, live it. If you want to show the God really, if you want to celebrate the resurrection, live it. Show it in your faith. And that is the greatest display you can have. It's not as important that you kind of observe, even if you cry, and when you see sometimes, these parades and these great displays of the Easter, where they have a Jesus figure walking with a cross, or maybe at this point, you can find on one of the cable channels the Passion of the Christ movie on, and it brings you to tears. Okay, fine if you watch it on TV. The problem here is, until they have a cure for the disease, okay, it's not as important for you to celebrate, not even go to church, not when there's a risk of not only spreading, but being infected. Both are dangers to society and to yourself. I work at a facility right now, and I'm taking great measures not to come in contact, and I shudder because I fear I could bring this home to my family. I could be affected, and then all of a sudden I can transmit it to my family. Being extra careful. I have to go to work because I am deemed an essential worker. Okay, but here's my point. It's not as important with church. And let me just also say this: there are a lot of pastors who want you to come to church that have other motives. In other words, they need your money. They need your body there. They want your money there. And my point is that pastors, hey, do virtual churches, still ask for money. By the way, and if they don't have the money, why would you try to get it from them anyway? But that's a whole nother discussion. Here's my point, people. If you think that Jesus is going to miss your celebration, you think Jesus is up in heaven saying, oh, gee, they didn't have a parade for me. Oh, they didn't have a procession for me. The reenactment, they didn't have it for me. Trust me, he's not. He would much rather you be safe. If you want to say, well, Lord, heal me or protect me, if you want to cite Psalms 91, fine. Wouldn't ever dream of telling you not to. But here's something. If you could avoid something by not going there, in other words, hey, if there's a burning building, why sit up there and say, Lord, protect me from the fire, I'm going to run in? No, how about not going into the building, and guess what? You won't have to pray that prayer. I'm not saying, people, that you can't have faith, that you can't believe God. But as I said before, it is presumptuous to think that, I'm just going to apply these principles that I've heard from some pastor or some teacher, when the Bible didn't even teach that. The Bible never told you to stand in something when you can resist it. That's why I said, even in the law of Moses, he gave a provision to quarantine people that were infected. Tell them, do not infect people. Now, was God violating his own faith principle? No. Here's the point, people. We can be wise. And until you can explain to people, okay, do you have a cure? Do you have some kind of way of keeping people safe if you're going to gather them? These pastors, from what I can see, are not even doing that. Now, some of them may say, well, we're going to practice safe distances. But reports have come that they're not doing that. In other words, you got to have gloves, right? Are you providing gloves for people and masks? Are you requiring gloves and masks? The whole point is, why risk it in the first place? And if you have health issues, you're at greater danger. These are the people that are dying. Not even the fact to say that the African American who are dying at exceedingly higher rates than everybody else. Again, it's time to be wise. And Jesus can survive you not having, Sunday best, nice hat on, nice suit, whatever. He can survive that. Okay? Trust me, he's not up in heaven mourning the fact that you are not celebrating on Easter. Be safe. That's my perspective. And as always, like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And if you have a thought or comment, feel free to add it. All comments are welcome. Till next time, I'll see you then.